Everyone out! Now! The fire alarm screams through the mansion like a wounded animal, and Sophia's hand is still on the red lever, her palm already blistering from how hard she yanked it down. Her heart hammers against her ribs so violently she thinks it might crack through bone. The digital clock on the hallway wall reads 8:47 p.m. She has 60 seconds. Heavy footsteps thunder down the marble staircase, and then he's there. Luca Moretti, all 6'3" of him, dark hair disheveled, the sleeve of his black shirt rolled up to reveal the serpent tattoo coiling around his forearm. His storm-gray eyes lock onto hers with an intensity that would normally make her knees weak, but right now, adrenaline is the only thing keeping her upright. "What the hell did you do?" His voice cuts through the chaos, through the screaming alarm, through the shouts of his men scrambling toward the exits. Sophia's throat closes. She can't tell him. She can't tell anyone. If they know she saw something she wasn't supposed to see, if they know she was in that wing of the house where she had no business being. I smelled smoke, she lies, the words tumbling out. I thought... You thought? Luca's hand shoots out, gripping her upper arm. Not painfully, but firmly enough that she knows she's not going anywhere. You pulled a fire alarm in my house because you thought you smelled smoke? His men are filing past them, some casting curious glances at the new nanny, who's apparently lost her mind. Sophia's been working here for exactly 3 weeks. 3 weeks of caring for Luca's 6-year-old son, Marco. 3 weeks of trying to ignore how her body responds every time Luca walks into a room. 3 weeks of reminding herself that men like him, dangerous men, powerful men, men whose import business definitely doesn't involve anything legal, are exactly the kind of men she promised herself she'd never fall for again. The clock now reads 8:47 and 30 seconds. Let me go, she whispers, trying to pull away. Not until you explain... Please. The desperation in her voice stops him cold. Please, we need to get out. Now. Something in her face must convince him because his expression shifts. His grip loosens just enough for her to wrench free, and she's running, her sneakers squeaking on the polished marble, heading back upstairs while everyone else is heading down. Sophia! Luca's roar follows her, and she hears his footsteps pounding after her. What are you doing? She doesn't answer. Can't answer. Her lungs are burning, her legs screaming as she takes the stairs 2 at a time to the 3rd floor, down the hallway toward Marco's room. The little boy's with his grandmother tonight, thank God, across town for a special dinner. But his room? The clock on the landing reads 8:47 and 45 seconds. She bursts through Marco's door just as Luca catches up to her. His hands are on her shoulders now, spinning her around. Are you out of your... Under the bed! She gasps. Please, please look under the bed. For a moment that stretches like taffy, Luca just stares at her. Then something in his trained, tactical mind must override his anger because he releases her and drops to the floor, peering under Marco's race-car-shaped bed. His entire body goes rigid. The clock reads 8:47 and 52 seconds. Luca's movements become impossibly fast and impossibly calm simultaneously. He reaches under the bed and pulls out a black backpack that Sophia had discovered 20 minutes earlier while searching for Marco's missing stuffed elephant. She'd unzipped it out of curiosity, thinking maybe Marco had stashed toys inside. What she'd found instead was a nightmare of wires and a digital timer, glowing red in the darkness. 8:47 and 55 seconds. Luca's hands move with surgical precision, unzipping the bag. Sophia catches a glimpse of his face, the raw, devastating realization that someone put a bomb in his son's room. Someone wanted his child dead. Get out, he says, his voice deadly quiet. I'm not leaving you. Get out! The roar is primal, protective, terrified. 8:47 and 58 seconds. Sophia's body won't obey. Her feet have grown roots into Marco's superhero-themed carpet. She watches Luca's hands trace the wires, watches his jaw clench, watches his fingers find something. Run, he breathes. They explode through the doorway together, Luca's arm like an iron band around her waist, half carrying, half dragging her down the hallway. They make it to the landing when Luca suddenly pivots, throwing open the door to a linen closet and shoving her inside. He crowds in after her, his body covering hers completely, pressing her into the corner, his arms creating a cage around her head, his chest a shield. 8:48 p.m. Sophia squeezes her eyes shut, her face pressed against Luca's throat, her hands fisted in his shirt. 1 second passes, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing happens. She feels Luca's heart hammering against her own, feels his breath hot and ragged against her hair. Neither of them moves. They stay frozen in that tiny space that smells like lavender dryer sheets and masculine cologne. Their bodies pressed so tightly together, there's no space for air between them. Either it was a dud, Luca finally says, his voice vibrating through his chest into hers, or I disconnected it in time. Sophia's knees give out. She would collapse to the floor if Luca wasn't holding her up. Her entire body starts to shake, the adrenaline draining away and leaving nothing but the horrifying realization of what almost happened. "Marco!" she chokes out. "Oh God, Marco is safe." Luca's hands shift to frame her face, tilting it up toward his. In the dim light filtering through the crack in the door, his eyes are molten silver. "Because of you? Sophia, because of you." The way he says her name makes something crack open in her chest. "How did you find it?" he demands. "How did you know?" This is it. This is where she has to confess that she was snooping, that she went into Marco's room when she had no reason to be there, that she'd been looking through his things. She could be fired. Worse, she could be viewed as suspicious, as a potential accomplice to whoever planted that bomb. Her voice breaks. "I was looking for elephant. Marco's stuffed elephant. He was upset about losing it before he left with his grandmother, and I thought if I could find it before he came home tomorrow, he'd be so happy. And I just wanted to make him smile because he's been so sad since his mother." She stops herself, biting her lip. Luca's thumbs stroke along her cheekbones, wiping away tears she didn't realize were falling. "Since his mother left us," he finishes quietly. "You can say it." Sophia had heard the story from the housekeeper. How Marco's mother, Luca's ex-wife, had decided 2 years ago that she wanted no part of this life. How she'd signed away her parental rights and disappeared to Europe with a businessman she'd been having an affair with. How Marco sometimes still cried for her at night. "The backpack was under his bed," Sophia continues. "I thought maybe he'd hid an elephant in there, so I opened it, and I saw—" She shudders. "I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if telling someone would make it worse, if there were ears everywhere, if whoever put it there was watching. I just knew I had to get everyone out of the house before 8:48. "How did you know the time?" "The timer. It was counting down. When I found it, it said 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Luca closes his eyes, his jaw clenching so hard she can see the muscle jumping. 9 minutes to decide whether to trust someone you've known for 3 weeks. 9 minutes to choose to risk your life instead of just running out the door yourself. His eyes open again, and the intensity in them steals her breath. "Why didn't you run, Sophia?" Marco wasn't here? But you were." The words escape before she can stop them. "You and your men, and the housekeeping staff, and everyone who... I couldn't just..." "You could have," Luca says softly. "You could have run. No one would have blamed you. No one would have even known you saw anything." The closet door suddenly flies open, and they spring apart like teenagers caught making out. One of Luca's men, Antonio, she thinks his name is, the one with the scar through his eyebrow, stands there with a gun drawn. "Boss, the house is clear. We need to move you to a secure location until..." He stops, taking in the scene. "Am I interrupting?" "No," Luca says curtly, stepping out of the closet. He reaches back, taking Sophia's hand and pulling her out with him. "Yes, I don't care. Antonio, I want every inch of this house swept. I want to know who had access to my son's room. I want security footage from the past week. And I want Victor here within the hour." "Victor's dead, boss. Found him in the East Garden. Throat cut." The hallway temperature seems to drop 10 degrees. Sophia watches Luca's face become a mask of cold fury. "When?" "Based on the blood, maybe an hour ago." Victor, Sophia knows, was in charge of mansion security. which means whoever did this took him out first. Inside job, Luca says flatly. Had to be. No one gets past Victor unless he lets them. His hand tightens around Sophia's. Double the perimeter guards. No one comes in or out without my explicit approval. And get someone up here to carefully secure that device. I want it analyzed. What about her? Antonio jerks his chin toward Sophia, his expression unreadable. Luca's grip becomes almost possessive. What about her? New employee, found the device, maybe a little convenient? Sophia's blood turns to ice. Of course they'd suspect her. Of course. She's the outsider, the newcomer, the one who... Antonio. Luca's voice could cut glass. If Sophia wanted to kill Marco, she's had 3 weeks of opportunities when he was actually in his room. If she wanted to kill me, she could have let that bomb go off while I was sleeping down the hall. Instead, she risked her life to make sure everyone got out safely, then came back inside to show me where the threat was. He pauses. She's either the stupidest assassin in history, or she's exactly what she appears to be, someone who saved my son's life. Which do you think is more likely? Antonio has the grace to look slightly abashed. Understood, boss. What do you want me to do with her? I'm taking her to the safe house. Luca, Antonio starts. That wasn't a request. Luca's tone brooks no argument. If someone's targeting my family and they know Sophia interfered with their plan, she's in danger too. She comes with me. Sophia's head is spinning. Wait, I can just go home. I'll pack my things. No. Luca turns to her, and the fierce protectiveness in his eyes makes her forget how to breathe. Someone just tried to blow up my house. If they saw you pull that alarm, if they have any idea you found the bomb, you're a loose end they'll want to tie up. You're not going home. You're not going anywhere alone. You're staying where I can protect you. I'm just the nanny, Sophia protests weakly. Luca steps closer, so close she has to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. You stopped being just the nanny the moment you decided my son's life was worth more than your own safety. His hand comes up to cup her cheek, the gesture almost tender. No one under my protection gets hurt. Especially not someone who just saved my child. There's something in the way he's looking at her that has nothing to do with gratitude and everything to do with something darker, hungrier, more dangerous than any bomb. Sophia's been around enough powerful men to recognize desire when she sees it. But this is different. This isn't just want. This is possession. And God help her, she doesn't hate it. Boss, Antonio interrupts, clearing his throat. We really need to move. If this was a coordinated attack, right. Luca's hand drops and he's all business again. Get me a car, back entrance. And Antonio, not a word about the nanny's involvement to anyone outside the inner circle. As far as anyone knows, the alarm was a malfunction that happened to save our lives. Antonio nods and disappears down the hallway, speaking rapidly into his phone. Luca turns back to Sophia. Do you need anything from your room? Her room, the small but comfortable space on the second floor where she's been living since taking this job. Where all her belongings are. Her clothes, her laptop, the photograph of her late parents she keeps on the nightstand. Yes, my things, we'll send someone for them. Right now, we move. He's already walking, still holding her hand, pulling her along with him. They descend a back staircase Sophia's never used before, emerging into a part of the mansion she didn't even know existed. A utilitarian corridor with concrete floors and exposed pipes. A servant's passage, maybe, or something more clandestine. Luca, she tries again, I really think I should just... He stops so abruptly she nearly crashes into his back. When he wheels around, his expression is almost anguished. Do you have any idea what could have happened tonight? His voice is rough, raw. If you hadn't found that bomb, if you hadn't gotten everyone out, my son might have come home tomorrow to... He can't finish the sentence. I owe you everything, Sophia. Everything. I will be damned if I let whoever did this hurt you too. There's something else in his eyes now. Something vulnerable beneath the hardened exterior. Fear. Real, genuine fear. For her. Okay, she whispers. Okay, I'll come with you. The tension in his shoulders eases fractionally. Thank you. They emerge into a garage that houses approximately a dozen vehicles, everything from sleek sports cars to armored SUVs. Antonio is waiting beside a black Mercedes, engine already running. Another man Sophia doesn't recognize is in the driver's seat. Luca opens the back door and waits for her to slide in before following. Antonio takes the front passenger seat, and the moment the doors close, they're moving. Sophia watches through the tinted windows as the mansion disappears behind them. The place where she's spent the last 3 weeks. The place where she's read bedtime stories to a lonely little boy who just wanted someone to tuck him in at night. The place where she's caught herself staring at Luca across the dinner table more times than she can count, wondering what it would be like to be touched by those strong hands, kissed by that stern mouth. Stop it, she tells herself firmly. This is not the time for ridiculous fantasies. Someone just tried to kill a 6-year-old child. This is real life, not some romance novel. Except the way Luca is sitting next to her in the darkened car, his thigh pressed against hers, his hand still wrapped around her fingers like he's afraid she might vanish. That feels like something out of a novel, too. How's Marco? Luca says into his phone. He must have dialed while she was lost in thought. Don't tell him anything yet. Let him enjoy his evening with Nonna. Yes, I know. Tomorrow morning is fine. Increased security, yes. Tell her I'll explain everything when I see her. Love you too, Mama. He hangs up and lets his head fall back against the seat, closing his eyes. In the dim light from passing street lamps, Sophia can see the exhaustion etched into his features, the lines of stress around his mouth. You called your mother Mama, she says softly. One eye cracks open. Is that surprising? A little. You're this big, scary mafia boss? So you do know what I am. His lips quirk into something that's almost a smile. I wondered if you'd figured it out, or if you actually believed the import business story. Sophia feels her cheeks heat. I had suspicions, and you stayed anyway. Now both eyes are open, studying her. Why? Because I needed the job. Because the pay was 3 times what I could make anywhere else. Because I have medical bills from my father's cancer treatment that aren't going to pay themselves. Because Marco looked at me with those big brown eyes and asked if I knew any stories about dragons, and I was lost. Marco needed someone, she says instead, which is also true. He was going through nannies like tissues. Your mother told me during my interview that they kept quitting because you were too intense and overprotective. Luca makes a sound that might be a laugh. Intense and overprotective. That's one way to put it. She also said that Marco hadn't smiled in months, that he'd stopped talking about school, stopped playing with his toys, that he'd just shut down. Sophia turns slightly to face him. When I met him, I understood why. He's lost so much already. His mother leaving like that. It broke something in him. I know. Luca's voice is thick with guilt. I see it every day. I don't know how to fix it. You can't fix it. You can just be there. Keep showing up. Keep loving him even when he pushes you away. She squeezes his hand. You're doing better than you think. They're silent for a moment, the car eating up the miles. Sophia has no idea where they're going. The buildings have given way to trees, darkness pressing in on all sides. Why did you become a nanny? Luca asks suddenly. The question catches her off guard. I like children. I was a kindergarten teacher for 5 years, but the pay was terrible. And when my dad got sick, she trails off, not wanting to dump her sad history on him. I needed something that paid better. Nannying for wealthy families seemed like a good option. Your father, is he... He died 8 months ago. The words still hurt, a sharp jab beneath her ribs. Pancreatic cancer. By the time they caught it, there wasn't much they could do. We tried everything anyway. She laughs bitterly. Turns out everything is very expensive, even with insurance. I'm sorry. And he sounds like he means it. What about your mother? Heart attack when I was 19. Genetic condition we didn't know she had. Sophia stares at her lap. It's just me now. Luca's arm comes around her shoulders, pulling her against his side. It's presumably meant to be comforting, brotherly even. But there's nothing brotherly about the way her body responds, heat blooming everywhere they touch. Not anymore, he says quietly. You saved my son, Sophia. That makes you family, and I protect my family. Family. The word should be comforting. Instead, it makes her want to scream with frustration. She doesn't want to be family. She wants to be... What? What does she want? This man is dangerous. He's involved in things that could get her killed, as tonight proved. He's emotionally unavailable, married to his work, traumatized by his ex-wife's abandonment. He's literally everything her therapist told her to avoid after her last relationship ended with her ex-boyfriend stealing her savings and disappearing. And yet, when he touches her, she feels safe. When he looks at her, she feels seen. When he talks about Marco, she sees the devoted father beneath the ruthless exterior. God, she's in so much trouble. The car slows, turning onto a private road marked only by a small, discreet sign. They drive for another 5 minutes through dense woods before a house appears. No, not a house. An estate, smaller than the mansion they left behind, but still sprawling and modern, all glass and steel in clean lines. Safe house, Luca says, catching her expression. One of several. This is my favorite, though. Overlooks the lake. They park in an underground garage that appears to have been carved directly into the hillside. Antonio gets out first, scanning the area with his hand resting on his weapon, before nodding to Luca. Inside, the house is stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows look out over dark water, moonlight painting silver streaks across the surface. The furnishings are minimalist, but clearly expensive, all leather and chrome and dark wood. The master bedroom is upstairs, Luca says, then seems to catch himself. You'll take the master bedroom. I'll sleep down here. I can't take your bed. Sophia. He turns to face her, and there's that intensity again, the look that makes her feel like she's the only person in his universe. Someone tried to kill my son tonight. They failed thanks to you, which means they're going to be angry and possibly desperate. Until I know who's responsible and that threat is eliminated, you're in danger. The master bedroom has a reinforced door, bulletproof windows, and a panic room accessible through the closet. You're sleeping there. This isn't negotiable. When he puts it like that, arguing seems stupid. Okay, she agrees. Thank you. Some of the tension leaves his frame. Antonio will do a perimeter sweep. There are 2 other guards stationed outside. No one's getting in here. What about Marco? When will you bring him here? Tomorrow, after I've had time to make sure this location is secure and figure out what the hell happened. Luca runs a hand through his dark hair, making it stand up in all directions. It should look ridiculous. Instead, he looks rumpled and human and heartbreakingly handsome. My mother's house is like Fort Knox anyway. He'll be safe there for one night. Sophia nods, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline crash is hitting hard, making her limbs feel like lead. You should get some rest, Luca says, noticing. It's been a hell of a night. What about you? I have calls to make, people to threaten. The usual. He says it like a joke, but his eyes are hard. I'm going to find out who did this, Sophia. And when I do... He doesn't finish the sentence. He doesn't have to. Sophia should be disturbed by the cold promise of violence in his voice. She should be running for the hills, calling the police, doing literally anything except what she actually does, which is step closer and place her palm against his chest. Be careful, she whispers. Whoever did this is clearly dangerous and well-informed about your security. Don't underestimate them. Luca covers her hand with his, pressing it harder against his heart. She can feel the steady thump through his shirt, strong and sure. Are you worried about me, Sophia? Yes, she admits. There's no point in lying. Not after everything that's happened tonight. Yes, I am. Something flares in his eyes, hot and fierce. For a moment, she thinks he might kiss her. His gaze drops to her mouth, his head tilting slightly, his free hand coming up to brush a strand of hair from her face. Then Antonio clears his throat from somewhere behind them, and the moment shatters. Luca steps back, releasing her hand. Antonio will show you to your room. There are clothes in the closet that should fit. I keep a variety of sizes for situations like this. If you need anything, just ask. Situations like this? Sophia can't help but echo. Do you often bring women to your safe house? The question comes out more bitter than she intended, and she immediately wants to take it back. But Luca just looks amused. You're the first, he says. The clothes are for my mother, my sister, my female employees. Anyone who might need to stay here in an emergency. Oh, now she feels stupid. Right, of course, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Sophia. He's close again somehow, invading her space. You have nothing to apologize for. Not tonight. Not ever, as far as I'm concerned. Then he's gone, striding toward what looks like a study, his phone already to his ear, his voice dropping into that commanding tone that makes grown men jump to obey. Antonio materializes at her elbow. This way, miss. She follows him up a floating staircase to the second floor. The master bedroom is exactly as impressive as she expected. A massive space with that same spectacular view, a bed that could fit 6 people, and what Antonio explains is indeed a reinforced door with biometric locks. Boss said you should know the code, Antonio says, demonstrating how to program her fingerprint into the system. And this button here, he indicates a small panel by the bed, triggers the panic room and alerts all security personnel. Press it if anything feels wrong. Thank you, Sophia says, feeling surreal. This morning, her biggest concern was whether Marco would eat his vegetables at lunch. Now she's learning how to access a panic room in a mob boss's safe house. After Antonio leaves, Sophia explores the attached bathroom, more luxury marble, a shower that could double as a small room, fluffy towels that probably cost more than her monthly rent used to. She finds the promised clothes in the walk-in closet, everything from casual loungewear to formal dresses, all with tags still attached, all in a range of sizes. She selects a soft t-shirt and sleep shorts, then stands under the rainfall shower for a long time, letting the hot water beat against her shoulders, and trying to process the last few hours. She almost died tonight. Or maybe she didn't. Maybe Luca had the bomb defused in time. Maybe they were never in real danger. But it felt real. The terror, the certainty that she had 60 seconds to get everyone out, or they'd all die. And then Luca, pressing her into that closet, his body a shield, his arms a fortress. She's in dangerous territory here, and she doesn't just mean the literal bomb. She's falling for him, despite every warning sign, every red flag, every logical reason to keep her distance. She's falling. When she finally drags herself out of the shower and into the comfortable bed, exhaustion pulls her under almost immediately. Her last conscious thought is of Luca's face when he realized the bomb was meant for Marco, the raw anguish in his eyes. She'll keep them safe, she thinks drowsily. Both of them. Whatever it takes. She wakes to sunlight streaming through the windows and the smell of coffee. For a disoriented moment, she can't remember where she is. Then it all comes rushing back. The bomb. The safe house. Luca. She throws on the previous night's clothes and pads downstairs barefoot. Luca's in the kitchen, because apparently even Mafia bosses need caffeine. He's changed into fresh clothes, dark jeans and a gray Henley that clings to his shoulders in a way that should be illegal, and he's staring at his laptop with an expression of deep concentration. Morning, she says tentatively. His head snaps up, and the harsh lines of his face soften infinitesimally when he sees her. You're awake. Coffee? Please. He pours her a mug from an expensive-looking machine, adding cream and sugar without asking, which means he's been paying attention to how she takes her coffee during their brief acquaintance. The realization makes something warm bloom in her chest. Any news? She asks, settling onto a stool across the counter from him. Some. His jaw tightens. The bomb was real. Military-grade explosives, professionally assembled. Whoever made it knew what they were doing. Sophia's stomach drops. So if it hadn't been defused, it would have taken out most of that wing of the house. Luca's voice is flat, emotionless in the way of someone barely keeping their rage contained. Marco's room, my room, the rooms of 3 of my men who sleep on that floor. But who would... That's what I'm trying to figure out. He gestures at the laptop. Victor, my head of security, was found dead. But before he died, he managed to send an encrypted message to my second-in-command. Just 2 words. Chicago. Petrov. Sophia doesn't recognize the name, but the way Luca says it, with pure venom, tells her everything she needs to know. Who's Petrov? Nikolai Petrov. Russian mob, operates out of Chicago. We've had disagreements in the past. Luca's smile is sharp enough to cut. Apparently he's decided to escalate. Disagreements about what? Luca studies her for a long moment, clearly debating how much to tell her. Territory, he finally says. There are certain operations in Chicago that we both have interests in. Legitimate businesses that serve as fronts for less legitimate activities. 6 months ago, I outbid him on a shipping company that controls access to the port of Chicago. He took it personally. Personally enough to try to kill your son? Petrov doesn't play by the usual rules. Most of us, there are lines we don't cross. Families are off limits. Children are sacred. Luca's hands curl into fists on the counter. But Petrov's different. He's a psychopath, with money and connections. If he thinks he can intimidate me by targeting Marco, he doesn't finish, but he doesn't need to. Sophia can see the cold calculation happening behind his eyes, the strategic mind planning its countermove. What are you going to do? She asks quietly. What? I have to. He meets her gaze. I'm going to Chicago. Tonight. I'm going to have a conversation with Nikolai Petrov, and by the time I'm done, he's going to understand that my son is completely, permanently off limits. There's a promise of violence in those words that should terrify her. Instead, she finds it almost reassuring. This is a man who will do whatever it takes to protect his child. There's something primal and powerful about that. Let me come with you, she hears herself say. Luca's eyebrows shoot up. Absolutely not. Why not? I'm already involved. I'm already a target if Petrov knows I interfered, which is exactly why you're staying here, where it's safe, with armed guards and every security measure money can buy. Luca moves around the counter, getting into her space again. It's becoming a habit, she notices. He's very tactile for someone so dangerous. I'm not bringing you into the line of fire, Sophia. So, you get to make decisions about my safety, but I don't get a say? Not when your safety is at stake, no. He says it matter-of-factly, like it's the most obvious thing in the world. You're under my protection now. That means I decide what risks you take. Sophia bristles at the sheer audacity of this statement. I'm not one of your subordinates, Luca. You can't just order me around, can't I? His voice drops lower, more intimate. You're in my house, wearing clothes I provided, drinking coffee I made. You've been targeted because you saved my son. Like it or not, Sophia, you're part of my world now. And in my world, I keep what's mine safe. What's mine? The possessiveness in those words sends a shiver down her spine. I'm not yours, she whispers, but it sounds unconvincing even to her own ears. Luca leans in closer, his hands bracing on either side of her stool, caging her in. Aren't you? Her breath catches. This close, she can see the flecks of blue in his gray eyes, the faint scar on his chin, the shadow of stubble along his jaw. This close, she can smell his cologne, something dark and woodsy that makes her want to lean in and press her nose to his throat. Luca, tell me you don't feel this. His voice is rough, demanding. Tell me it's just me, and I'll back off. I'll keep my distance. I'll treat you like any other employee under my protection. She can't. God help her, she can't lie to him. I feel it, she admits, her voice barely above a whisper. But that doesn't mean... It means everything. His hand comes up to cup her face, thumb stroking across her cheekbone. I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since the day you walked into my house for that interview. You, with your kind eyes and your soft voice, and the way you got Marco to smile within 10 minutes of meeting him. Do you have any idea how rare that is? How special? If you say you're just the nanny one more time, I'm going to kiss you to shut you up. Her heart stops. Then it restarts at triple speed, pounding so hard she's sure he can hear it. "You can't kiss me," she manages. "I work for you. There are power dynamics. It's inappropriate." "You're right." But he doesn't move away. If anything, he leans closer. "Completely inappropriate. Totally unprofessional. I could give you a dozen reasons why this is a terrible idea." "Then why?" "Because life's too short." His forehead touches hers. "Because someone tried to blow me up last night, and I realized that I've been so busy being careful, being responsible, being the boss and the father and the provider that I forgot to let myself feel anything. And then you pulled a fire alarm and came back inside for me, and I felt everything all at once." Sophia's hands have somehow found their way to his chest, feeling his heart racing beneath her palms. "This is crazy," she breathes. "Completely insane," he agrees. "We barely know each other." "I know enough. I know you're brave and selfless. I know you love my son. I know you drink your coffee with too much sugar, and you hum when you cook, and you cry during animated movies." His thumb traces her lower lip. "I know that if I don't kiss you right now, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life." "Then kiss me," she whispers. He does. It's not gentle. There's too much adrenaline, too much fear and relief and need all tangled together. His mouth claims hers with a hunger that steals her breath, and she kisses him back just as desperately, her fingers fisting in his shirt to pull him closer. He tastes like coffee and something darker, something dangerous and addictive. When his tongue traces the seam of her lips, she opens for him without hesitation, and the low groan that rumbles through his chest makes her entire body flush with heat. His hands are in her hair, tilting her head to deepen the kiss, and she's pretty sure she's making embarrassing noises, but she can't bring herself to care. This is everything she didn't know she needed, this passion, this connection, this feeling of being wanted so intensely, it's almost overwhelming. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Luca presses his forehead to hers again. "Come to Chicago with me," he says. The request surprises her. 2 minutes ago, he was refusing to let her anywhere near potential danger. "I thought you wanted me to stay here where it's safe." "I changed my mind." His hands frame her face, holding her gaze. "I don't want you out of my sight. Call it paranoid, call it controlling. I don't care. I need to know you're safe. And the only way I can be sure of that is if you're with me." "What about Marco?" "He'll stay with my mother, with a full security detail. She's taking him to her place in Vermont. Remote, secure, defensible. Petrov won't find him there." Sophia considers this. The smart thing would be to stay here, to let Luca handle his dangerous business, while she remains in the safety of the safe house. The smart thing would be to not get any more involved in this world of violence and retribution. But when has she ever done the smart thing? "Okay," she says. "I'll come with you." The relief on his face is palpable. "Thank you. On one condition." His eyebrow quirks. "You think you're in a position to negotiate? I think I just agreed to walk into potential danger with a man I've kissed exactly once. That earns me at least one condition." She straightens her shoulders, trying to project confidence she doesn't entirely feel. "When this is over, when Petrov's been dealt with in Marco's safe, we talk. Really talk. About what this is, what it means, where it's going." "Deal." He seals it with another kiss, shorter but no less intense. "Now go get dressed. We leave in 2 hours." The private jet is Sophia's first clue that Luca's wealth operates on a completely different scale than she'd imagined. Her second clue is the deference shown by everyone at the private airport, the way they call him Mr. Moretti, and jump to fulfill his every request. Antonio's with them, along with 3 other men whose names Sophia tries and fails to keep straight. They all have that same dangerous competence, that same watchful alertness. Luca settles her into a leather seat that's more comfortable than most beds, then takes the seat across from her. Once they're airborne, he pulls out his phone and starts making calls in rapid Italian. Sophia doesn't speak the language, but she recognizes the tone, commands being issued, information being gathered, plans being made. She must doze off at some point, because the next thing she knows, Luca's gently shaking her awake. "We're landing," he says softly. Chicago looks cold from the air, gray clouds hanging low over the skyline. They touch down at another private airport, where 2 black SUVs are waiting. The drive into the city is tense and silent. Sophia watches the buildings slide past and tries not to think about what's coming. Luca said he was going to have a conversation with Petrov, but she's not naive enough to think it will be a peaceful chat over coffee. "Where are we going?" she finally asks. "Hotel first. Get you settled somewhere secure." Luca's been holding her hand since they got in the car, his thumb making absent circles on her palm. "Then I'm paying a visit to Petrov's headquarters." "Which is where?" "A nightclub in River North. Very exclusive, very expensive. Most people don't know Petrov owns it." His expression hardens. "But I'm not most people." They pull up to a hotel that screams luxury. Marble and gold and uniformed doormen. Luca escorts her inside personally, keeping her close, one hand at the small of her back. The suite he's reserved takes up half the top floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a breathtaking view of Lake Michigan. There's a full kitchen, a living room with furniture that probably costs more than a car, and 2 bedrooms. "You'll stay here," Luca says, already moving through the space, checking windows and doors with practiced efficiency. "Antonio will be right outside. 2 more men in the hallway. Building security has been briefed that no one, and I mean no one, gets up to this floor without explicit clearance from me." "Luca!" Sophia catches his hand, stopping his frantic movement. "I'll be fine. Go do what you need to do." He looks at her for a long moment, conflict clear on his face. "I don't want to leave you." "I know. But the sooner you deal with Petrov, the sooner Marco can come home safely. That's what matters." He pulls her against him, holding her tight, his face buried in her hair. "If anything happens to you, it won't." She pulls back to look up at him. "You've got me locked in a fortress with an army for protection. I'm probably the safest person in Chicago right now." That gets a ghost of a smile from him. "When I get back, we're having that talk you wanted." "I'll hold you to that." He kisses her again, slower this time, like he's memorizing the taste of her. When he finally pulls away, his eyes are dark with promise. "Don't leave this room for anything. Understood?" "Understood." One more kiss, quick and hard, and then he's gone. Sophia stands at the window, watching the city lights begin to twinkle as dusk falls. Somewhere out there, Luca's about to confront a man who tried to kill his son. The thought makes her stomach twist with anxiety. She tries to distract herself with television, with room service, with a long bath in the enormous tub. Nothing works. She keeps checking her phone, but there are no messages, no updates. It's nearly 11 p.m. when she hears a commotion in the hallway. Raised voices, the sound of a scuffle. Her heart leaps into her throat. She grabs her phone, ready to call Luca, when the door to the suite bursts open. But it's not an attacker. It's Antonio, looking grim, with Luca right behind him. Luca's shirt is torn, there's blood on his knuckles, and he has the beginnings of a bruise along his jaw. But he's alive. He's whole. He's here. Sophia runs to him without thinking, throwing her arms around his neck. He catches her, lifting her off her feet, holding her so tightly she can barely breathe. "It's done," he says into her hair. "Petrov won't be a problem anymore." She doesn't ask what that means. She doesn't want to know. "Are you hurt?" She pulls back to examine him, her hands hovering over his face, his chest, looking for injuries. Nothing serious. Petrov had more security than expected. We had to adjust our approach. He winces as she touches his split knuckles. But the message was delivered. He knows that if he ever comes near Marco again, if he ever even thinks about my family, I'll burn his entire organization to the ground. "Did you—" She can't finish the question. "Kill him?" "No." Luca's smile is cold. That would be too quick. Too easy. He'll spend the rest of his life looking over his shoulder, knowing that I could end him whenever I choose. That's a better punishment than death. Sophia should be disturbed by this, by the casual violence, by the cold calculation, by the whole dark underworld that Luca inhabits. but all she feels is relief that he's safe, and the threat to Marco is neutralized. "I need a shower," Luca says, releasing her. "Then we should talk." Right. The talk. The one where they figure out what this thing between them actually is. While Luca showers, Sophia paces the living room. What is she doing? She's a kindergarten teacher, former kindergarten teacher, from a normal, boring background. She has no business being involved with someone like Luca. This isn't her world. But when he emerges from the bedroom 20 minutes later, hair damp, wearing fresh clothes, looking at her like she's something precious, she knows she's already too far gone to turn back now. "Sit with me," he says, settling onto the couch and patting the space beside him. She sits, and he immediately pulls her against his side, tucking her under his arm like she belongs there. "I need you to understand something," he begins. "My life is complicated, dangerous. There are aspects of what I do that I can't share with you, not because I don't trust you, but because knowing certain things could put you at risk. I understand." "I'm not sure you do." He tilts her chin up, making her meet his eyes. "If you're with me, really with me, you'll always have a target on your back. There will always be rivals, enemies, people who think they can get to me through the people I care about. Tonight was proof of that." "Are you trying to talk me out of this?" Sophia asks, searching his face. "I'm trying to give you an out. Before this goes any further." His jaw clenches. "Because once you're mine, Sophia, I won't let you go. I'm not built that way. When I commit to something, I commit completely." The intensity in his voice sends a shiver through her. That sounds like a threat. It's a promise. His hand slides into her hair, fingers tangling in the strands. "I'm promising you that if you say yes to this, I will protect you with everything I have. I will put you and Marco above everything else. I will be faithful, devoted, probably too possessive for your own good. But I will also be honest with you about what being with me means." Sophia takes a shaky breath. This is the moment. The point of no return. "I'm scared," she admits. "Terrified, actually. This is all so far outside my experience. A week ago, my biggest worry was whether I was using the right laundry detergent. Now I'm in Chicago after you went to threaten a Russian mobster, and we're talking about commitment after knowing each other for 3 weeks. I know." He presses his forehead to hers. "I'm scared too. I haven't let anyone in since Marco's mother destroyed my ability to trust. I built walls so high, I didn't think anyone could scale them. And then you pulled a fire alarm and saved my son's life, and the walls just crumbled." "This is crazy," she whispers. "Completely insane," he agrees, echoing their earlier conversation. "I should walk away. Forget this ever happened. Go back to my normal life." "You should," he says. But his arms tighten around her, and she can feel his heart racing against her palm. "I'm not going to, though." His breath catches. "No? No." She pulls back to look at him properly. "Because I'm already halfway in love with you, and I have been since the first time I saw you reading bedtime stories to Marco in different voices. Because when I see you with your son, I see the man you really are beneath the dangerous exterior. Because when you touch me, I feel safe and wanted and alive in a way I've never felt before." "Sophia, I know it's fast. I know it's reckless. I know there are 100 rational reasons to say no." She cups his face, feeling the scratch of stubble against her palms. "But my life up until now has been nothing but rational and careful and safe. And it's been fine. Just fine. Not great, not terrible. Just fine." Her voice drops. "I don't want fine anymore, Luca. I want extraordinary. Even if it's dangerous. Even if it's complicated. I want to feel this alive." For a moment, he just stares at her. Then he's kissing her, deep and claiming, and full of something that feels a lot like love. She kisses him back with everything she has, pouring 3 weeks of longing and fear and hope into it. When they break apart, both breathing hard, his eyes are blazing. "Marry me," he says. Sophia's brain short-circuits. "What?" "Marry me." He says it again, more firmly this time. I know it's insane. I know we've only known each other for 3 weeks. I don't care. I want you in my life, in Marco's life, permanently. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to give you my name, my protection, everything I have. Luca, we can't. Why not? He's deadly serious. Give me one good reason why not. Because people will think I'm after your money. I don't care what people think, because Marco needs time to adjust to the idea. Marco asks about you every single day. He drew you a picture yesterday of the 3 of us as superheroes. You're already part of his world. Because I haven't even met your mother properly. My mother told me after your interview that if I didn't hire you, she would disown me. She already loves you. He takes her hands, holding them tight. Sophia, I'm not asking you to answer right now. I'm not asking you to rush into anything. But I'm putting my cards on the table. I want forever with you. When you're ready, if you're ready, I'll be here. Tears are streaming down her face, and she's not even sure when she started crying. You're serious. Deadly serious. He kisses her knuckles. I've spent the last 2 years closed off, focused only on Marco and work. I thought that was enough, that I could just exist without really living. And then you walked into my life and reminded me what it feels like to want something just for myself, to feel something beyond duty and responsibility. I want to say yes, she admits. That's the crazy part. Every logical part of my brain is screaming at me to slow down, but my heart is already yours. Then trust your heart. His smile is tender. We can take it slow in every other way. Date properly. Let you get to know my family. Give Marco time to adjust. But I need to know that you're all in, Sophia. That this isn't just a fling or a phase. Because I can't do halfway. Not with you. She thinks about her life before this. The loneliness after her father died. The struggle to pay bills. The emptiness of coming home to an apartment with no one waiting for her. The feeling that she was just going through the motions, day after day, without any real purpose or passion. And then she thinks about Marco's face lighting up when she walks into a room. About the way Luca looks at her like she hung the moon. About how, for the first time in years, she feels like she's part of something bigger than herself. Okay, she whispers. His eyes widen. Okay? Okay, I'm all in. A laugh bubbles up, slightly hysterical. I must be out of my mind, but yes. Yes to dating. Yes to being part of your life. Yes to, eventually, when the time is right, marrying you. The kiss he gives her then is different from the others. It's a seal, a promise, a claim. His hands are gentle but firm, positioning her exactly where he wants her, which turns out to be straddling his lap, her arms around his neck, his hands on her waist. I'm going to make you so happy, he murmurs against her lips. I'm going to spend every day proving that you made the right choice. You already make me happy, she says. You and Marco both. Speaking of Marco, Luca reaches into his pocket and pulls out his phone. I should call him, let him know everything's okay. He's been worried. My mother said he couldn't sleep last night. Call him, Sophia agrees, sliding off his lap to sit beside him instead. Luca dials, and moments later, Marco's face appears on the screen via video call. His eyes are red-rimmed, like he's been crying. Papa! He exclaims. Are you okay? Nonna said there was trouble, but you were handling it. I'm fine, buddy. Everything's fine now. The trouble's all taken care of. Luca's voice is warm, soothing. How are you doing? Being good for Nonna? Yes, but I miss you. And I miss Sophia. Marco's lower lip trembles. When can I come home? When can I see Sophia? Luca glances at Sophia, something soft and vulnerable in his expression. Actually, Sophia's right here. Want to say hi? He angles the phone so they're both in frame. Marco's face transforms, breaking into the biggest smile Sophia's ever seen from him. Sophia, you're there! Are you with Papa? I am, Sophia confirms. We're in Chicago, but we'll be home tomorrow. And then we're all going to be together again. Promise? Promise, Luca and Sophia say simultaneously. They talk for a few more minutes, until Marco's grandmother appears in frame to announce that it's past bedtime. After they hang up, Luca sets the phone aside and pulls Sophia back against his chest. "He loves you," he says quietly. "I can see it in how he lights up when he talks to you. I love him too. It's easy to admit. He's a special kid. He is, and he deserves a mother who will actually stay, who'll choose him every single day." Luca's arms tighten around her. "Someone like you." The weight of that responsibility should be terrifying. Instead, it feels right. They sit there for a long time, wrapped around each other, watching the Chicago skyline through the windows. Eventually, Luca carries her to bed, just to sleep, though the kisses he presses to her forehead and cheeks and lips are full of promise for the future. Sophia drifts off feeling safer than she has in years, cocooned in the arms of a dangerous man who's somehow become her whole world in the span of 3 weeks. 3 months later, Sophia stands in the garden of Luca's mansion. Their mansion now, she supposes, watching Marco chase butterflies in the afternoon sun. The property has been completely overhauled since the night of the bomb. New security, new staff, new protocols. The room where the device was found has been stripped and renovated into a reading nook for Marco. "You're thinking too hard again," Luca says, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. She leans back against him. "Just thinking about how much has changed. Good changes, I hope." "Mostly good," she agrees. The past 3 months have been a whirlwind. Meeting Luca's extended family, navigating the complex world of his business, the legal parts at least. Learning how to live with security guards and safety protocols, and most importantly, building a relationship with Marco, who's blossomed under the stability of having both his father and Sophia consistently present in his life. She's officially moved in, her small apartment packed up and left behind. Her belongings look slightly out of place among the mansion's expensive furnishings, but Luca insisted he wanted her things here. Wanted evidence of her presence in every room. "I have something for you," Luca says, releasing her to pull a small box from his pocket. Sophia's breath catches. It's too soon. They agreed to wait at least 6 months before making anything official, to give Marco time to adjust and to make sure this wasn't just intensity born of trauma. But when Luca opens the box, it's not an engagement ring. It's a key. "What's this?" she asks. "Key to the safe house by the lake, the one where we stayed that first night." His voice is soft. "I put it in your name. It's yours now, completely separate from anything connected to my business. If you ever need to get away, if you ever feel unsafe, if anything ever happens to me, you and Marco go there. It's secure, it's stocked, and it's only in your name. No one else has access." Tears prick her eyes. "Luca, I need to know you'll be protected. Always." He closes her fingers around the key. "This is my promise to you. Whatever happens, wherever life takes us, you'll always have a safe place to land." She throws her arms around his neck, kissing him hard. He responds immediately, his hands coming up to frame her face, tilting her head to deepen the kiss. "You gross!" Marco's voice interrupts them. "Papa's kissing Sophia again." They break apart, laughing. Marco's standing a few feet away, making playful, exaggerated sounds of disgust, but his eyes are bright with happiness. "You're just jealous," Luca teases, striding over to scoop his son up. "Come here, let me kiss you too." He proceeds to give Marco a flurry of loud, affectionate kisses, making the boy shriek with laughter. Watching them, Sophia feels something settle deep in her chest. This is what she's been looking for her whole life, without knowing it. Not perfection, not safety, not predictability, but this. Belonging, purpose, love, in its messiest and most beautiful form. "Hey, Marco," Luca says, setting his son down but keeping a hand on his shoulder. "Sophia and I wanted to talk to you about something." Marco immediately looks worried. "Am I in trouble?" "No, buddy, nothing like that." Luca glances at Sophia, who comes over to join them. "We wanted to know how you'd feel if Sophia stayed with us. Like, permanently. Forever." Marco's eyes go wide. "You mean like she'd be my mom?" If she wants to be, Luca says carefully, and if you want her to be. We wouldn't do anything unless you're comfortable with it. Marco looks up at Sophia, his expression serious beyond his years. Would you read me bedtime stories every night, even when I'm being bad? Every single night, Sophia promises, no matter what. And would you help Papa make sure I eat vegetables? Because he tries, but he's not very good at hiding them in food. She bites back a laugh. I would. And would you stay? Like, really stay? Not like Mom did? The question breaks her heart. She drops to her knees so she's at eye level with him. Marco, I know your mom leaving hurt you. I know it's scary to trust that someone will stay, but I promise you, I swear to you, that I'm not going anywhere. Wild horses couldn't drag me away from you and your dad. Marco thinks about this for a long moment, then in a very small voice, Can I call you Mom? Sophia has to blink back tears. I would love that, but only when you're ready. There's no rush. Okay. And then, in typical 6-year-old fashion, his mood shifts completely. Can we get a puppy now? You said we could talk about a puppy once Sophia was living here forever. Luca looks at Sophia in betrayal. You promised him a puppy? I said we could discuss the possibility of a puppy, Sophia corrects, standing back up. That's very different from promising. It sounds exactly the same to me, Marco protests, as they dissolve into laughter and a spirited debate about the merits of various dog breeds. Sophia catches Luca's eye. He mouths, I love you, over Marco's head, and she mouths it back. 3 months ago, she pulled a fire alarm to save a little boy she barely knew. Today, that little boy wants to call her Mom, and his father has given her a key to forever. Not bad for what started as just a nanny position. Dossiasi. 6 months after that, 9 months total since the night of the bomb, Sophia finds herself getting ready for what Luca's mother keeps calling the event of the season. The engagement party, because yes, Luca proposed. Properly this time, with a ring that probably cost more than a small car, on a beach in the Bahamas, with Marco serving as the world's most enthusiastic accomplice in the plan. And yes, she said, yes. How could she not? The man had proven over and over that he was serious about building a life with her, that he was willing to make changes, to be vulnerable, to let her all the way in. They'd attended family dinners. She'd met cousins and uncles and associates. She'd learned to navigate the complicated politics of Luca's world, the unspoken rules and careful alliances. It had been overwhelming at times, but Luca had been patient, explaining everything, never pushing her faster than she was ready to go. And Marco had bloomed under their combined attention. The sad, withdrawn child she'd first met was now vibrant and confident, doing well in school, making friends, smiling so much more often. You look beautiful, Luca says, appearing in the doorway of their bedroom. Sophia glances at her reflection. The dress is understated elegance, cream-colored silk that skims her figure without being too formal. Her hair is swept up, exposing her neck and the delicate necklace Luca gave her for her birthday. You clean up pretty well yourself, she says, taking in his tailored black suit. He crosses to her, taking her hands. You ready for this? Once we go down there and make this official in front of everyone, there's no going back. You'll be marked as mine in the eyes of every family in this city. Is that supposed to scare me? It should probably at least concern you. She reaches up to adjust his tie, which doesn't actually need adjusting. Luca Moretti, I walked back into a house that might explode to save you. I think I can handle an engagement party. His laugh is low and warm. Fair point. He sobers. But seriously, if this is too much, if you want to keep things quiet. I don't. She cups his face. I want everyone to know that I'm yours and you're mine. I want the whole world to know that I love you, and I'm going to marry you and become Marco's mom officially. No more hiding. No more uncertainty. The kiss he gives her is thorough enough that she has to reapply her lipstick afterward. Downstairs, the mansion is transformed. White lights everywhere, flowers in massive arrangements, a string quartet playing in the corner. And people. So many people. Luca's family, his business associates, even some of Sophia's friends from her old life, looking slightly bewildered but happy for her. Marco spots them coming down the stairs and comes running over, looking adorable in his little suit. "Everyone's here," he announces. "Nona said we can start soon. Can I do the toast? You promised I could do a toast." "You can do a toast," Luca confirms, ruffling his hair. "But keep it short, okay? And remember what we practiced." "I remember, Papa." Marco rolls his eyes with the long-suffering patience of a child who's been over-prepared. Then he hugs Sophia around the waist. "You look pretty, Mom." It's the first time he's called her that in front of other people, and Sophia's heart swells so much she thinks it might burst. "Thank you, sweetheart." The party is a blur of introductions and congratulations. Luca keeps her close, his hand a constant presence at her back or holding hers. She meets more aunts and uncles and cousins than she can possibly keep track of. Everyone is warm, welcoming, clearly delighted that Luca has finally found someone. "He was half dead before you," his mother Isabella confides at one point, pulling Sophia aside. "After that woman left, after he had to rebuild everything, he shut down, became all business, no heart. But you brought him back to life." "He did the same for me," Sophia admits. "I was just going through the motions before I met him." Isabella pats her cheek. "You're good for each other. And you're wonderful with Marco. That's all I need to know." Eventually, Luca clinks a knife against his champagne glass, calling for attention. The crowd settles, all eyes turning to them. "Thank you all for being here," Luca says, his voice carrying easily through the room. 9 months ago, I hired a nanny for my son. I thought I was just filling a position, solving a problem. I had no idea I was actually meeting my future wife." Chuckles ripple through the crowd. "Sophia came into our lives and changed everything. She saved Marco's life." His voice catches, and Sophia squeezes his hand. "And she saved mine too, in a different way. She reminded me what it means to live instead of just survive. She made me believe in love again, in partnership, in building something real and lasting." He turns to face her fully, taking both her hands. "I know we did this backward. I know we moved too fast by some people's standards. But when you know, you know. And I knew from the moment you pulled that fire alarm that you were someone special, someone worth keeping." His smile is tender. "So here's to Sophia, my fiancée, my partner, Marco's soon-to-be mom, and the best thing that ever happened to us." The crowd erupts in applause and cheers. Sophia's crying, of course, because how could she not? Luca wipes her tears away with his thumbs, then kisses her soundly to more cheers and whistles. Then Marco's tugging on Luca's sleeve. "My turn." "You said I could do a toast, too." Luca laughs and lifts him up so he's at eye level with the adults. Someone hands Marco a glass of sparkling apple juice. Hi everyone," Marco says, suddenly shy with all the attention. "I just wanted to say that I really love Sophia. She reads me good bedtime stories, and she makes the best chocolate chip cookies, and she doesn't get mad when I forget to pick up my toys right away." He pauses. "And I'm really happy she's going to be my mom for real, because I think she's the best mom in the whole world, even though she's not officially my mom yet, but she will be soon." He lifts his glass. "So, to Sophia and Papa. I'm glad you guys love each other." The end. There's not a dry eye in the house. Sophia's openly sobbing now, taking Marco from Luca's arms to hug him tight. "I love you so much," she whispers into his hair. "Thank you for that beautiful toast. Did I do good?" "You did perfect." The rest of the evening passes in a happy blur. Dancing, eating, celebrating. At one point, Sophia finds herself on the terrace, catching her breath.